Today on the Obsessed or Not Interested show, I am interviewing somebody named Jamie Lee. So about 6 months ago, it might have been a little bit longer, another mom shared her account with me because she was sharing a lot about children with autism, but not just that. She was sharing information about women who have brain fog and how just success stories all the time, like almost every single day. I was seeing these things. And then I came across a video of hers when her daughter was younger and they were telling her that she was probably on the autism spectrum. And then she shared, and you keep watching and you'll learn on this episode about her, how her daughter was showing all the signs of autism and then all of a sudden just started talking. And so today on the episode, she's going to share exactly like her backstory, where she came from. So she was an addict. She completely turned her entire life around. She actually, and you'll hear her talk about this, but I thought this was so cool. She met her husband when she was doing speaking engagements at rehabs, and her husband was as well. That's how they met. I love that so much. So inspiring. But she is going to go into detail about the MTHFR mutation and how this has not only helped her daughter to be able to speak and lose all symptoms of autism, but she's going to share how this learning about having the MTHFR mutation and the detox protocol that she started using herself because she didn't want to give it to her daughter before trying it herself, how it helped her. She always just thought brain fog was normal and all these things was normal. And then she realized, oh, wait, I have the MTHFR mutation, so I don't detox properly. Now, I could never do this topic justice, but she goes into detail and breaks it down. It really breaks it down so well and very much so you can understand it. I took pages of notes on this episode, you guys. You have to listen to this and you have to share this episode because it isn't just for a child with autism or to help somebody who has a child with autism. Obviously, for sure, share it with them. But this is for everybody because 60% of the population has this gene mutation. So I'm going to stop talking. You got to go hear Jamie Lee. Welcome to the Obsessed or Not Interested podcast. I am your host, Mindy Wender-Querio, and I'm a small town go-to girl next door who is obsessed with helping others see more for themselves so they can thrive in all areas of life. I love researching all the things like wellness, mindset, relationships, you name it. If I'm obsessed with it, I get hyper-focused on it and I research the crap out of it, and then I share it with you. If those are things that you're also obsessed with, then keep listening and let's become new best friends. So Jamie Lee, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm so excited to have you on. I just was on my stories because I was like geeking out. I was listening to a podcast that you spoke on before. I'm always watching your stories. So I'm just really excited to bring your knowledge to you. And I are the same. We are so passionate about getting the word out there because you just wrote me this. Knowledge is power.
Right.
So if you are new to this podcast, just so you know, I have a daughter with autism and I won't go into all that. That's a past episode, but that's what led me to following Jamie Lee. Actually, I came across, somebody shared a reel of yours, and this was about 6 months ago, and I've been stalking you ever since. And I was so inspired by you and connected to you because of I feel people's energy, and I felt how authentic you are, and I felt how passionate that you are about it was just so real. And your number one goal is to put this information out there to serve other people. And that's my jam. So thank you for coming on. So let's just, before we get into all the things that we're going to do a deep dive and geek out on, I can't wait. Let's go back. I want to go way back. Like, I want to know about you and what even got you into all of this stuff, this wellness stuff, holistic stuff.
Okay. So I come from a very long line of drug addicts and alcoholics. And so I had tons of trauma, okay, as a child, and ended up becoming a drug addict myself. And so I got into a program, I got sober, really started healing myself. And then, after that comes the food. It comes taking a look at what you're putting into your body, and it's spirituality and all of these things. So I started having these awakenings and realizing how intuitive I was, and the power that I had, in like what was going on in the world. And I started eating better, and just I had an awakening, and I was very intuitive, like I said before, and I developed my gifts, and I developed my spirituality, and really found myself. So that's kind of, I guess, the baseline, of where I come from.
Okay. I love that. And wow. So when you got sober, and was that just all on your own? Like, just how does that work? How did that work?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was facing prison time, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it got really, really bad. So I went to jail, and I was a place where I prayed. I hit my knees and I said, "Help me want to stop using." And I had a spiritual awakening there, and I went to court, and things happened where I shouldn't have got out, but I did, and it
Oh,
was that white light experience, and I went right into a 12-step program, and I started running, and I started just getting myself together.
wow. That is very, very inspiring. When you were saying that, it like gave me goosebumps, because you can just tell that was God. That was a God thing. That was a universe like helping you, that you're done with this.
Yep.
And have you ever even looked back since that moment?
No, no, that was never an option for me, going back to living the way I was ever.
Wow, that's really inspiring. Okay, so now I want you to just share a little bit. So then, okay, so that's where you were. And were you married at that time, by the way?
No, I found my husband, actually. We were speaking at rehabs together, and that's where I met him. So we've been,
Stop.
yeah, so we've been together over 9 years, married for 2.
Wow. That is, I love that. I didn't know that. See, I missed some parts of your story. Okay. So then you decide, you guys get together and you decide to have children.
Yeah.
Tell us about your first child. It's your daughter, right? Charlie?
Yes, yes.
Okay, tell
So
us about that.
interestingly enough, my OB told me I would never have children on my own, and that I would need help. And it's just, oh, I hate the fear. So much fear surrounding Western medicine. And what I did and nobody talks about this enough, is preparing for, in preconception, preparing to have a child, which I definitely didn't. I definitely didn't do that on purpose. Okay. I really didn't, but everybody should. But I had switched over to, a diet that was just full of leafy greens, full of just organic, real food, which was nothing compared to what I used to eat. I eat the standard American diet, full of sugar, full of ice cream, full of sugar, processed foods, all that stuff. And so when I changed, I believe because I had MTHFR and I was starting to get real folate and real nutrients, my body just started working like it should. And then
Wow.
and then came Charlie. So I think we tried, on month 3 of us trying, or, the week
And it just
after.
happened. It's so funny that you said this, because I just was doing an interview with a holistic functional medicine doctor, and she literally talked about this, because she helps women that are told, like you were, that you can't have babies. And
Yep.
dude, if you are listening, women out there, if you're listening to this, Jamie Lee is an example of not believing that. And
It,
we're gonna probably, I thinking that you probably had more fear when you had your baby
oh,
in
for
the
sure.
doctor's office.
And I
Okay.
want to say this one thing too, is by that time, when I started eating all these foods, I lost trust in Western medicine. And so they wanted to give me folic acid and all of these synthetic prenatals, and I refused to take those. And I know that was my intuition, and thank goodness, because having MTHFR, which I had no idea until way later down the road, years down the road, that could have caused severe, severe issues for myself and my child.
Yeah. And that's what there is still today. It's wild to me that my oldest son is 15 years old, and they're still today giving women the folic acid and prenatal vitamins. Thankfully, there is options now, more options than when I, was pregnant 15 years ago. But it's wild to me that we're still giving women folic acid. So, okay. So tell us then, okay, so then you have your baby. How did that go?
Okay, so I want to back up first. I was 6 months pregnant. I was staring out the window, and fear just came over me of what if I have a child with autism? What is
Stop.
what is autism? And I remember it so clearly. And I'm just looking out the window. I'm like, what is going on? What is this? And so it was just like this. That I have chills. It was like this download, and it was a fear. It was this fear, but what I know for myself was it was my intuition, just like kind of preparing me to navigate motherhood on my own instead of going down that road of the wellness visits and of those things, because I really didn't connect the two. All I knew was like something was telling me this could happen to me.
Wow. I just have to say, I have a side question that has nothing to do with the MTHFR and all the things we're talking about. But everything you said to me, I'm like getting chills every single time, because it's like you listen to God's voice, like you listen to these signs. You're so intuitive. Do you think that everybody has that ability?
Yes,
They're just
all do.
okay.
And I'm really mad. I'm really mad that mothers are being gaslit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very upset about that we have forgotten our power and our natural God-given instinct in motherhood and intuition.
I gotta just share a little bit about something I experienced when you just said this. I remember when my 15-year-old was born, so 15 years ago, and he does not have any special needs, nothing like that. He's straight A student, basketball play, like all the things, right? Very social. But I remember my mom coming to me when I was pregnant, and I had this little feeling, but I'm not, I was a sheep. I call myself a sheep. I hope I don't offend anybody by saying that. But I was just like, whatever you say, doctor. I had him up on this pedestal and I trusted him with everything. I'm dumb. I don't know anything. I really felt that way. But I've had this feeling. And then my mom said, hey, have you looked into this thing with autism? And I don't know. Some people love her, some people hate her, but it was like an article with Jenny McCarthy and about her son, Evan, I believe that's his name, who has autism and all the things. And she was talking about the vaccine schedule. And by the way, guys, I'm not trying to tell you one way or the other, vaccines or not. We're just sharing our experiences and what we believe and what we've witnessed actually as mothers with our children. But I remember her saying that, and I had the fear with Lane, like you're saying, that fear. And so I, with Lane, did the delayed vaccine schedule and still was a sheep, still was believing. And I remember my pediatrician was just like, no, in really trying to, almost like I was being recruited.
Oh, yeah.
The other way. And I was like, well, I read this. And he's like, no, because of this. And I was like, okay. And so I felt like I was whatever. And Lane, and this is the biggest blessing, even though it broke my heart as a child or as a mother, he had colic, which we'll probably get into some of these things in a little bit. But I think the reason he got colic was maybe a God thing, because it made me pull completely back and I didn't give him any vaccines. And there was some signs when he was younger where he was very, like he would be impulsive and things like that. He was a talker. He was all these things. But I had a fear. I'm like, maybe he is not. I had the fear that you're talking about. Then we go, Lily's my next child. And then you guys know that story. So I think I was being prepped, but with you, you followed that intuition and followed your gut. So I just give you props to that for doing that. And also, moms, if you're listening, take note of what Jamie Lee did, because you, like she said, she wants to empower you. She wants you to listen to that voice. But anyway, go on. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. And I'm not somebody who's like, don't vaccinate I'm not I'm here to meet you where you are. If you're vaccinating and you still want to take precautions and you still want to have your mental detox, then I'm going to meet you where you are. If something happened and your child's injured, I'm here for you. If you don't want to do it, I'm still, you know what I mean? So no judgment whatsoever, just here to help and share knowledge. Okay. So you want me to continue on with?
Yeah. And I love that you're like that too, because I think if you weren't like that and you're like, this is the way it is with your fact acts,
It's harmful.
you run people. you scare people away, and then they're like, well, no, they actually go to the way other end of the spectrum. So I love that you do that. But yeah, so I would love you to share just like, once you had Charlie and just like some of the things that happened after she was born.
Yeah. So, of number one, I also kind of want to say this too. I really, really wish I wouldn't have gone to a hospital. I wish that I would have. I was a sheep in that aspect. I was terribly afraid of complications or the pain, and you hear all these stories, and so I was completely brainwashed. And I had a traumatic birth. Okay, and it was the blood oxygen was dropping, and they wanted to give me Pitocin right away, even though there was no reason for that. And the epidural, and they're just like, yeah, this, and then the oxygen's dropping because, of course, I'm just laying on my back, essentially paralyzed. I can't move. And so, thank God, I had a really great doula, and I had to get up on my knees and push, and it was just so long and so horrible. I tore my ab muscles pushing on my back so hard. It was just absolutely awful. I was in shock when they put her in my arms. It was just like I was dead inside. I couldn't feel anything. And it was just like I said, I just applaud those women who give birth out of a hospital. And not having an agenda, just personally sharing my story and my regrets. I had a birth plan. Also, they fought me for taking my placenta home to encapsulate, which really helped me, by the way, mentally. The stories about that are true. But yeah, I had my husband follow all the nurses around, make sure they didn't do anything to her,
Dude, I'm the same person, by the way, Jamie Lee. I'm like, Brad, go follow them wherever that baby goes. Okay.
Yep. And so, we get Charlie home. The thing is my husband was not on board with, me not wanting to vaccinate her. Okay. This was a big fight that we had. I remember just bawling my eyes out in the shower, knowing I was going to have to go to this well visit, and I was going to have to vaccinate my child. We did delayed. Okay. So, and, after that, she was just screaming. My husband noticed something was wrong, even then, which was really, really powerful. And thank God for that. She became constipated right away. Okay. So, and then thank God, somebody connected me with this woman, and she met us at a coffee shop, and she was like, listen, I'm on the front lines with this, with all these vaccine injured children, and then she gave us this movie called Vaxxed to watch. Mm-hmm. And I sat down with him and we watched it, and he said, all right, no more. Okay. And so, but as we progress on, not knowing, again, my daughter had an gene mutations, not knowing anything, and, giving her the organic baby food that's full of heavy metals. It's all over the news. Everybody knows. Giving her that rice cereal that my mother-in-law tells me to do, right? And then, look, I have so many tattoos. I didn't detox before pregnancy. You think about all, my past and what I was doing and all the heavy metals that are in tattoos and just all of it, and that we literally detox into our children. So right from the gate, as soon as they come out, they got a heavy toxic load, and then their livers don't even develop until they're 18. So like they're really, really just set up for failure. And then she's vaccinated, and then I continue giving her the food. So we fast forward, and it's the middle of the pandemic. I'm not around any friends. I never was really around people with kids, and I didn't know that she should be like talking in full on sentences. Like, I'd call me ignorant or whatever you want. I just didn't know. And we went to, and she had eczema. We had like these breaking down tantrums where it was like, what is this normal? Like, I know kids are tantrums, but is this normal? Like, wouldn't sleep. It was a lot. And so we go to the pediatrician, and we actually had gotten kicked out of our old pediatrician because after that first vaccine, it said, I don't want to do this anymore. And they called me selfish and told me that I needed to leave. So I was just like, wow, okay. Found like a more holistic one who would do like the delayed schedule, even though we weren't going to, even do that. But so they're like, oh yeah, she's almost 2. And they're like, so she should be saying, over 200 words and making sentences. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? You know what I mean? Like, no, she's not talking. So they were like, okay, well, let's do a little checkup. And they said, well, come back for your next well visit and we'll screen her for autism if she doesn't improve. And I said, well, what else can I do? What do you mean? What can I help her? How can I help her? Foods, like what can I do to help her start talking? And they were just like, there's really nothing we can do. Let's just do a check back. And I said, is this real life right now? Like, are you guys kidding me? And so we left. And I mean, it was like the car ride was just, everybody was just like this, just dead silent. I'm like, oh my God, something's wrong. Something's wrong. And I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to find out. Cause I find a solution. If there's a problem, I will find the solution. Okay. And, I did. And I came across this, I remembered Jenny McCarthy. That's when everything came back to me. I remembered Jenny McCarthy, and I remembered the autism mamas talking about heavy metal detoxing their kids. And so there I went. I got my butt home and I started researching, and I found a heavy metal detox. I went through a whole bunch of them, and I found one that I felt like, I trusted in this brand and in the ingredients, because some are synthetic. You don't want to get involved. It's like really, it's messy. The supplement industry is the wild, wild west, as it is.
Oh yeah.
And so, we ordered it, and I tried it first, to make sure.
I love that. That's exactly what I do with all supplements or anything. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to try it, and then we'll give it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. And
so wait, can we back up real quick? Yes. For those listeners who don't know what this is, because I was one of those moms that didn't know what this was. So first of all, can you just describe what is the MTHFR mutation?
Yeah. Okay. So MTHFR plays a role in methylation, in our methylation process. Now, MTHFR it's a critical enzyme. It helps with DNA synthesis, red blood cells, brain spinal cord development in babies in your in your belly, the production of neurotransmitters, like so many things. Okay, and it's going to produce a protein that helps you break down and utilize folate. Okay, folate, and when we talk about folic acid is just a synthetic form of real folate that you get from fruits, vegetables, okay? And so if you have this gene mutation, which, by the way, to my knowledge, there's a lot of speculation out there about how the percentage. What I know, I follow Dr. Ben Lynch, and he has a book called Dirty Genes. If you haven't read it, go get it. It's going to really, really help you understand things. And also, by the way, I had this free ebook on MTHFR and motherhood that I just put up in my link tree that I just had in there. So I said, this is a perfect time. Let me just let everybody know you could do that. It's called MTHFR and Motherhood Simplified, because this can be really complicated. And there's a lot of information. But anyways, he says it's 60%, estimated 60% of the population has this gene mutation.
Okay. I just went on a podcast, I think on Lily's, and I threw out the number 80%. So sorry, that was false. It's 60%. It's still really freaking high. It's really freaking high. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So think of your body as a roadmap, and, the methylation process just makes sure everything runs smoothly. We all get to the same place. MTHFR gene mutation is a kink in the hose. It is a roadblock. And when you can't, and the problem is our society is now consuming synthetics on a daily basis. They have put it into the foods. It's in the formula, the folic acid, synthetic B9. Why? Is it on purpose? Okay. Is it? Because it would seem so. All right. But Okay, so number one, if your child has an MTHFR gene mutation, which they need folate for like every process in the body, okay, and you're giving your child folic acid in pastas, baked goods, cakes. What else am I missing? Crackers, goldfish crackers. Good Lord, please stop giving your kids goldfish crackers if they have MTHFR. Right, we need to take that out of our diets. But just to go back to, if they have this gene mutation, they have a heavy toxic load already, and then we give them formula with folic acid. What do you think is going to happen? It's going to block all the any natural folate from even getting in. Even if you do feed the baby, folate, because folic acid binds to folate receptors. So it's going to block off any normal folate. All right. This is a big problem. And then when we have this gene mutation also prevents proper detoxification in the body. This is one of the biggest issues. Folate helps you detox. So the metals and everything is going to build up tenfold. Really, metals don't leave your body. You can't naturally detox them. But what happens and this is kind of my speculation, is what happens when we have these gene mutations and we're putting all these metals into the body through various ways, like we've just talked about. It's just this, nothing in the body is working properly. We don't have sweat detox pathways, but like nothing's working. So it's just building up. And it causes so much harm. So every mama out there, if you're pregnant, if you're planning on having kids, take a gene test, find out if you have MTHFR, if your husband or boyfriend partner has MTHFR, and make sure you test your children.
Yeah. And you know what I thought about this? I mean, this will never happen ever, but I'm like, why? Still having hope, but my naive self having hope. Why don't they just give moms or like the baby before you start vaccinating? Why don't they do a gene test to see if they're immune compromised?
It's funny. That's really
I know
funny.
It is funny. It's laughable.
Funny because some doctors will completely even deny MTHFR. I'm not sure. So Dr. Ben Lynch also talks about in his book that there are people from all around the world that have this genetic mutation, and it doesn't bother everybody. Why? Why wouldn't it bother people in Italy specifically? Well, I'll tell you, because they have a diet that is not full of synthetics, that is not full of glyphosate, full of gluten, and they're getting the proper amount of folate. They're not consuming folic acid on a consistent basis, and they are not being pumped full of toxins. If you look at the toxins here that are allowed in all of our foods and cosmetics, and it's not the same in Italy. So we're being bombarded, and our liver is overburdened as it is, and then you throw in the folic acid, and then here we go with this issue. Now, here's some hope. Here's some really awesome hope, okay? Is that MTHFR does not bother me anymore, nor my child. And also, let me just add this in before I forget. Physical signs of MTHFR gene mutation in your child are going to look like this. Blue sugar bug vein on the bridge of the nose. My child has this. This was the telltale, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, I have dyslexia, so it's like sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know. But this was the sign where I started reading about it, and I was like, oh my God, she might have this. So it's the blue sugar bug vein. I have never seen a child who has this sugar bug vein on the bridge of their nose not have MTHFR. Just throwing that out there. Angel kisses or stork bites. Okay, cleft palate. Dimples.
Wait. What's the angel kiss thing?
The stork bites, they're like red, like strawberry birthmarks on the face, back of the neck, things like that.
Okay.
A cleft palate, and let's see, I think that's it. Oh, lip tie, tongue tie. So
okay.
These are the signs of an MTHFR gene mutation.
Okay. And we can get into signs of like maybe you and I, because you didn't find out till you were older, right? Like you didn't know this going in. Okay. So let's get back to your daughter. So then you started you researched the crap out of all these different types of products or supplements and to detox her. You finally found one. and let's go from there. What happened?
Yeah. So after having a really good experience with using the detox, and it just kind of blew my mind with my own personal experience, I said, okay, time to give it to Charlie. And she said her first word on day 4. She said no. She said no. And it was like this little light turned on in her brain and in her body. She was on day 4 already a different child. And I was like, wow. And so she said no, shook her little finger at me with a little attitude. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, it was my baby, you know? And then day 5, she was repeating me. She was saying beans, green, blue, purple. It was the cutest thing. So day 5, I got my kid talking. This product removed so many toxins and heavy metals from her body and obviously her brain, because the brain is, you know, when we have heavy metals in the brain, it's gonna cause cognitive issues, cognitive developmental delays, right? And we continued on, and I gave her the drops on day 2 of using the drops. The drops, by the way, guys, this is just a mineral distilled water. Zeolite is been around for centuries, and it's a mineral distilled water that just binds to toxins, and you pee and poop them out. And so it's that easy. And so day 2, she poops parasites, she poops worms. And I was just flabbergasted, like, what is going on? Why was I not aware or told that my child could have parasites? Why was this never talked about? Did your pediatrician ever talk about that with you?
Never.
Like,
Never,
you know,
never.
that maybe you should parasite cleanse because this is a thing. But do you remember the stories of our grandmothers looking under the covers with a flashlight at the butt, or putting tape on the butt? Or like, I remember those stories. Somehow that's been lost. So anyways, I called my ped, and I was like, you know, I was afraid. I thought they were going to think I was like dirty, bad, and wrong or something, you know, like, oh my God, what's her house look like? And they were like, oh yeah, this can be really normal. They're pinworms. And I was like, they're not pinworms. Like, do pinworms look like pins? Because this is not that, you know what I mean? But they sloughed me off and were like, just go to your local pharmacy and get the pinworm medication. And I was just like, okay, I'm so done with you guys. Like, I don't trust you at all, like, because you're gaslighting me again. And so
we have trust issues, guys. We get trust issues from this. We got trust issues. We're not okay still. We need therapy.
Still not okay. No, still not okay. But
so true.
And the light came back on in her eyes. Her eczema went away. She started sleeping better. Her tantrums got significantly better. And, you know, I'm not going to say that heavy metal detox was like the cure all. It got my child's voice. It gave me my child's voice. The light turned on in her body. Her eczema went away, and she started sleeping better, and like things calmed down. But there were more steps that I needed to take, you know.
Okay. So can we what is the product called? Because zeolite, let me just get this straight. Zeolite there's multiple different zeolites, but is that true? Okay. Tell me about that so I can understand.
Yes, there's multiple different types of zeolites. I think there's like 200 different kinds. This kind, and most of them are synthetic. This kind, and some of them can remove essential minerals, and that's why I went with this brand. And it's called clinoptilolite zeolite mineral. And this is the only type of zeolite mineral that has scientific evidence in PubMed studies on over 300 PubMed studies and scientific evidence on safety and effectiveness. And it's the smallest zeolite on the market. It is nano-sized. So when you spray it into the mouth, it's tasteless, by the way, which is fantastic for kids. It goes everywhere the blood goes. So everywhere the blood's pumping through all those organs, it's grabbing those toxins, and they're peeing them out and they're pooping them out. And so, you know, it holds a negative charge. And so toxins, all right. So we're talking glyphosate, any sort of heavy metal, mercury, arsenic, lead, microplastics hold a positive charge, mold, mycotoxins, radiation, fluoride, the glyphosate, herbicides, all those are negative or positively charged toxins. They're toxic. So when this negative charge mineral comes into contact with it, it's going to pull it inside its cage-like structure and it won't let it go. But back to the mineral depletion. So other zeolites will just bind to anything with a charge, But this zeolite has magnesium, potassium, sodium inside of its cage, and so it will give that mineral to take the toxin. So it's never going to remove any essential minerals that you need. It wouldn't let go of this mineral to take the same charged toxin, if that makes sense. It has to have a magnetic pull for the exchange. So that's why I went with this one.
Okay. And I'm using it, by the way, and I just want to let you know, Hudson is very bullheaded. He's very my sensory kid, and it's tasteless. He just opens his, like I had my husband do it, which is his stepdad. So Hudson's stepdad. So he's just like, I'm like, Joey, you do it first. Like, cause I'm a pushover with my baby. He's the third born. He's my baby. I'm like, you do it first. And so Joey got him to take it the first time. The second day he just goes, spray. He actually came, I have a supplement thing. And he came and he goes, spray, and he was asking for it. So just so you know, I know that a lot of like even any kid, though, it's not just kids on the spectrum. Any kid's just like, oh, I don't want that. Actually, my 15-year-old is probably the worst on taking supplements. But I can vouch that even Hudson, and I also give this, by the way, to my 15-year-old. He goes, oh, actually, he was scared to death. I'm like, Lane, Hudson and Lily did it. You need to, grow a set here and take this.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he goes, oh, it's not that bad. So I have all three of my kids on it, and it really is like tasteless.
Yep.
Okay. So what I have is the spray and then this little liquid bottle. So what is that called? Sorry, I'm new to this.
Yeah.
Reminder.
Yeah. So the spray that's PBX. And then the drops are called Pure Body. And so that is a zeolite, same thing. It's a larger size molecule that only stays in the digestive tract. Heavy metals become embedded in the digestive tract, causing severe constipation, making a breeding ground for parasites because they have so much food. Actually, parasites in the small intestine and heavy metals in the digestive tract are one of the two large contributors to constipation in children. So when you clean the digestive system, you remove the heavy metals, and they also cause leaky gut. They tear holes in the gut and everything. It's a nightmare. And you just think about these baby food pouches that are full of them. So those drops clean the digestive tract. You see, this is where you can see a lot of parasites coming out. It actually binds to the parasites as well. So those are the drops that I saw the parasites come out with my toddler, and a lot of people do as well.
And don't freak out, right? The moms shouldn't freak out when they see these. We're going to freak out, but we shouldn't freak out because it's good. It's getting out.
Yeah. Well, I was like, are you kidding me? Like it was like, I freaked out, but it wasn't like, it was, I have a lot of gumption and strength inside me because of what I've gone through in my life. So I'm just like, are you serious? Like what?
I love that.
But yeah, better out than in,
Yeah. And then also you recommend one other thing to go with it. It's fulvic. Okay, so tell us about this.
All right, so fulvic is absolutely fantastic, and there are a lot of children on the spectrum who use PBX and do not get their speech back, and not everybody will. I wanted to say this, really, I think this is so important. There's a book, and it's called Crooked, and it's by Forrest Moretti. Everybody should read this book. If you have a child on the spectrum, or you're thinking of vaccinating your child, or you're even anti-vax and you're pregnant, whatever it is, get this book. And what he's saying. So crooked smiles are adult, one of those signs of heavy metal toxicity. So what happens is the heavy metals travel to the brain. They hitch a ride on white blood cells, and when they're signaled to that something's going wrong in the body, when there's a virus or whatever, right? When we get a vaccine. And so the heavy metals hitch a ride on those blood cells, and they go right to the brainstem. And the brainstem is it causes lesions. These heavy metals cause lesions on the brainstem. And so we talk about speech. Okay, there can be damage to the specific brainstem and in the brain. So some children may not get speech back, okay, because it is been damaged so much. And with crooked smiles and lazy eyes and things like that, it's the brainstem. All your facial muscles and your eye muscles connect to that. Okay, so I had a horribly crooked smile before detoxing. It is like night and day better. But please get this book. It's very sobering though as well. I do want to give you sort of a warning as far as that goes. But with the fulvic, back to what I was saying, the fulvic sometimes is what helps children begin talking when they haven't seen results with PDX, because it wasn't actually heavy metals, in the brain. It's severe gut issues. And every single child on the spectrum has severe gut issues. Okay, and so we also need to be very, very careful with antibiotics. Please, that's a whole nother podcast we could do, okay? But so children begin speaking while using the fulvic as well. It's so powerful as it enhances nutrient uptake into the cells. It supports mitochondrial function. It's going to seal leaky gut. It alkalizes the body. It's a binder, so it's going to pull more toxins from the digestive system. It also binds to parasites, removes them. You should have seen how many liver flukes and intestinal flukes. It was an alien movie in my toilet when I started using fulvic. Like,
oh my
scary.
Goodness.
All right, and those things, by the way, they're red and they float, just in case anybody does use the products and they're like, is it just chewed up food? Like I thought, it's not. But it heals the gut, and fulvic is a nutrient that we should be getting in our food source before they ruined the soil with pesticides and commercial farming. So children who would, when they start eating foods, solid foods, they would be getting fulvic in their foods. It's necessary for our bodies. Again, is it planned? Is this done on purpose? I think it is, but maybe it's not. Okay, I don't know. But when you give fulvic to the body, it has a party. It has a healing party. And there's so many minerals in it as well. There's minerals from seaweed in this specific product that I'm talking about, because humaic is notoriously contaminated with heavy metals. So I don't trust that. I was actually taking another product that I think contributed to heavy metal toxicity for me. But so you give the body the minerals and the fulvic, and it helps heal the gut, seal the gut, and gives the body what it needs, because the gut is the second brain. Is it, it's just as important. I don't even like the term second. Like, it's like this one's first and that one's second. It's like, it's one. The brain and the stomach is our brain, So that the fulvic has been really, really instrumental. And I didn't know that this was what I was going to be doing when I started. I didn't know I was going to be a child's health advocate. I didn't know that this was going to be my entire life's purpose and soul's purpose, to help heal these children of this world. And chills. And I won't stop, and I never will. And I think what's just really awesome is that I'm not in everybody's face. I'm just here for you. If you need help, I'm here for you. And I'm just going to continue to keep sharing knowledge for moms if they want it.
Time out real quick. I want to talk to you about the Hyper Focus Journal. This is a journal that I've been gushing about on my podcast over and over and over. So something that I used to struggle with anytime I wanted to start something, whether it be a new workout program, a new business, whatever the thing is, I would always be waiting to feel motivated to start. When the reality is, what I've learned is that action creates motivation. So all you need to do is literally take the first step. And the first step could be getting the Hyper Focus Journal and just starting. Slowly but surely creating that morning routine. You guys already know this about me, but I went from being broke, shy, insecure, on state assistance, working 50 hours a week away from my son, and just being completely stressed and overwhelmed in my life. And how I turned that all around was by changing my daily habits. And that is what you're going to get with the hyper focus journal. There's no BS, there's no fluff. It's not going to take you a week or two to try to read the directions and figure out how to use the dang thing. It's very straightforward, to the point, and it gets the job done. This is the planner that you're actually going to use. With the Hyperfocus Journal, it's going to help you in so many ways. It's going to help you gain confidence, change your mindset, have peace and calmness, stop feeling so scattered daily, feel more accomplished, and get focused. Okay, let's just get to the point. What is this journal inside? So you're going to get my full goal setting system. It's a 5-step process. I'm telling you, the most basic step-by-step guide on goal setting that you've ever seen. And then you go into the daily pages, and on the daily pages, it's going to prompt you to do affirmations, gratitude. I'm going to teach you how to create and pick your hyper focus goals. And then you'll create a hyper focus to-do list and then just a regular to-do list every single day. It's going to keep you accountable. It's going to build those daily habits, and you're going to be able to 10x your goals. Oh, and last thing, it's really cute. There's 2 different covers to choose from. One is like this dreamy ocean vibe, and then the other one is like this very chic, bold, professional red. They are both 7 by 8.25 size. And what I love about that is it's big enough to use. It's not like a notepad, but also you can throw it in your purse. You know what I mean? So it's not too small, not too big. So you have that daily hyper-focused to-do list every single day, wherever you go. That is why I love the Hyper-Focus Journal. I made this for myself, and if you're like me, I created it for you too. So just head over to hyperfocusmentor.com and use the code OBSESSED at checkout to get free shipping off your order. Again, that's hyperfocusmentor.com and use the code OBSESSED for free shipping on your journal, and you can order yours today. And you know what? I think that's why I was so drawn to you, because I've been on this journey. Obviously, Lily was diagnosed 10 years ago or whatever. And I follow a lot of people, you know what I mean? But I felt very connected with you because you weren't somebody that was just like, some people can have like this negative energy around it, like make you feel dumb.
Yep.
That you haven't done this detox yet, or make you feel less than, or you're just whatever. And you just had like, you have this warm, genuine passion for this. And I love that. I mean, and I'm the same way. I had no idea. I was like, I had a business, and I'm still doing that same business, but I had no idea that part of my purpose was going to be that. And it's so weird that 2 years before Lily was diagnosed, God brought me this wellness business that I started to build. And then all of a sudden my business took off, and I thought I had the perfect life. I got a healthy baby boy and a healthy baby girl and a successful business. I was able to quit my full-time job to work from home, to be that solid mother. And then this hits me, and I had a choice. Do I look at this as I'm a victim, or do I take this on like
That's
you
right.
did? This is my freaking purpose.
Right.
And this is part of my mission. This is just added. And it was like all of that other stuff, like how you were saying with your story, that stuff brought you to it was for a reason. It brought you to where you needed to be, because look how many people you're serving. Anyways, when you were talking, I was like, my body had just had chills. So I had to share that. But I do have a question about Fulvic. What does it taste like? Because this is the one thing I got the 2 bottles, and I was like, I got to get this other one, especially after hearing what you just said. I'm like ordering when we get off. So What does it taste like?
It's kind of pretty much tasteless. You
Okay.
put it in water, and you don't really taste it at all. It does give it like a little brown pigment. So for moms, put it in a sippy cup, stainless steel, like water bottle, because some of the kids are like, I don't like that. Or you could just put it in orange juice or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. So I could definitely do that, because my kids both drink out of like those stainless steel bottles, so they can't see. So I'll oftentimes like hide things in there that are tasteless, which is nice. Okay. So one more question before we get into what else you did. You were mentioning you did other things for your daughter, and then we'll get into stuff about adults too. But I wanted to ask you, when is it not a good idea to do this? Is there like a certain time, like is there any time that you shouldn't do this because it's like a detox on your body?
Yeah. So as far as pregnancy and breastfeeding is it's a sketchy area. I get this question asked a lot. Okay. And because, zeolite is a binder in itself. right? But the problem that we're seeing these days is that people are so incredibly toxic that when you start removing, and there are a lot of midwives who talk about zeolite, using zeolite while pregnant. But when you begin removing toxins at a cellular level, your body starts to function like it should again. And it wakes up and it's like, oh, I gotta clean this house. And so it goes and it'll start killing off bacteria and pathogens and parasites. But when those die, they release endotoxins. And that's kind of what you can maybe get some flu-like symptoms and things like that. It's called a healing crisis. And this is such a double-edged sword talk right now, because no matter what, you are going to pass these toxins down to your child. There's been numerous studies. There's 200 toxins in the umbilical cords that are tested these days, and there's it's horrific. So no matter what, you are going to pass your toxic load down. Now, it is it's kind of, the studies say that it could be worse if if you're taking zeolite and you go through die-off symptoms and you have a whole bunch of toxins that are now flowing through your body and your blood. That's not good. So everybody needs to make their own informed decision. If they did choose to do that, they would need lots of binders, and binders that do not remove minerals and essential nutrients. I hate activated charcoal. I don't like it. I would never let anybody take that because it binds to everything, the good and the bad. I would recommend a citrus pectin and work with a practitioner, talk to your doctor, do your research. And the same thing with breastfeeding. I did it while I was breastfeeding. I had my own reasons for that. I had severe brain fog. I had severe issues going on. I had a crooked smile. There were so many things, and my toddler, she was taking it as well. So I was under the care of a practitioner, my best friend. All my best friends are, holistic health practitioners. And so again, like, I can never ever recommend that to anybody. It's kind of like, do your own research. Because like I said, the danger is that you're so toxic and your body has a healing crisis and it starts healing itself and kills off all this stuff, and you can't keep up with it, and ends up spilling over into, the baby's blood or the breast milk, because that will happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. So for children though, is there any way they're good, right? I mean, if they have the flu, maybe.
The flu is literally just a detoxing process. I really want everybody to understand that when we get sick, it's our body saying, hey, we got too much in here. We need to get out. What happens? We have to blow our nose. We get mucus. We get diarrhea. We get a cough, right? Like, we get a fever. It's the body saying, get everything up and out. Let's go. It's detoxing. And then you don't eat. Your body is now, cleaning the digestive system. Not eating while you're sick is a good thing. It's autophagy. The body's eating the debris and things like that. And so when you're sick, when my kid is sick, she's getting sprays of PBX like every 3 hours. I'm like, I'm spraying her, help you. I'm going to help you out. She gets over it quicker. So no, essentially there's really no, you can do it whenever.
Yeah. And you know what? When Lily was 2, I went to a man named Dr. Patrick Flynn. He owns the Wellness Way clinics. Anyways, he's a good friend of mine. And I remember him telling me, if she gets a fever, and you don't give her Tylenol and you just let that crap work out and do natural things, like you were just saying, some natural things, he said, you're going to see a spike in language. And every single time I would see a brain development, because what you were saying just now, it's giving the body actually getting stuff out and giving a break on food intake and all the things that you just said, which makes so much sense. It's very common sense if we stop and think about this stuff. Yeah. So yeah. And then you and I were talking, not on this interview, but what's your take on Tylenol?
Yeah. Also,
especially after vaccines.
I want to tell you, he talks about that in Crooked, about fevers with children on the spectrum and them getting, speech back, and then after it, just read.
Yes.
Okay, Tylenol. What is my take on Tylenol? I think it is evil and horrific to what it does to the body, and that practitioners and doctors are telling us to give it to our children. So I would never ever suppress a fever ever. I know that there are cases where mamas have children who have seizures. First of all, let me just say, two of the biggest causes of seizures, okay, are going to be ammonia released from parasites, so having a severe parasite infection, and heavy metals in the brain, and they also usually go hand in hand together. So just so everybody has that sort of information. And so, this is just for me. Like I said, no judgment on anybody. This is my opinion. I love you, even if you love Tylenol and you want to give it to your child. I love you anyways. I don't, but when we reduce a fever, what happens is you are going against the body's natural defense and healing process in the body. And when you reduce the fever, it actually pushes the virus and pathogen deeper into the organs. And so this is why we're seeing like Epstein-Barr and autoimmune and all these things coming out later in life, is because we're trying to make ourselves comfortable and we're so afraid of things that we're pushing the pathogen deeper into the organs. Now, there's that, but the other danger and the biggest danger is when we give our children Tylenol after a vaccination. So it depletes glutathione, which is the body's most potent and necessary antioxidant that we possibly have that can combat against the oxidative damage and the inflammation, the brain inflammation and things like that. And it is going to weaken the blood-brain barrier, so all those heavy metals will cross into your baby's brain. Okay, it is horrific. And, this goes back to a story that I shared today. I spent the first morning on TikTok. I saw this woman. I fell into her page, and she just loved her baby, and I think she's from the UK, and she's just a beautiful human and very funny and always on with her baby. That's her page, is her and her baby. And she went to go give her child his shots, and she's like, okay, we're going to give him his shots. I got him on this cute little onesie, his lamb onesie with the shorts, so they can, get his leg and everything. All right. And so next video, oh my gosh, he's screaming, crying, and he won't sleep. He's so uncomfortable. And I forgot, I don't have any Tylenol. So I had my friend come rush me over some Tylenol. And now he's sleeping like a baby, and he's doing so good. And he slept all night. And then the next video.
No.
The next video, she's, she said that she took him to the hospital, and they said there's nothing else we can do. She woke up to him dead in his crib. And so this is the severity that we're talking about. This is serious. And everybody should just have informed consent on these stories, and they're coming out more and more and more. I hear these stories every single day, especially the MMR one. Mm-hmm. And so just really, like, we just got to understand. And listen, here we go. If you want to vaccinate your child, heavy metal detox them before and after. Okay, get those heavy metals, get the nasty adjuvants out, get the formaldehyde out, and don't use Tylenol. Use a yarrow tincture that's gonna help. Use something else, a homeopathic. You don't need to suppress a fever.
No. I'm so happy you shared this. And this is none of the things that we share is to scare anybody. No. It's to inform. Knowledge is power. This is why Jamie Lee is so passionate about this, because putting information out there like she is today and like she does on her Instagram, her Instagram, by the way, we're going to share. I shared this at the beginning of the podcast in the intro, and I'll share it at the end, and we'll go into that. But it's Wisdom in Motherhood. And she has like 500,000, I don't even know, million followers across all the platforms?
I did. So I was previously MTHFR mama, and I had 350,000 followers on TikTok, and they canceled me because I was talking about MTHFR. So this is something that is being censored now, unfortunately. And you gotta, for those people who talk about, conspiracies and conspiracy theorists, like, things just start adding up where you're just like, that term was something to gaslight us who are seeing the truth, in my opinion. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because it's happened to me, and I'm not, screw this, screw that, screw them. I'm just here sharing truth. That's it. I don't have that attitude. I'm going to get them. I'm going to expose them. That's not what I'm doing. I
No,
just want you as a mom to know and to do things to protect your child so you don't have to say, I wish I would have known.
exactly. And you said that you were fired by your pediatrician, and I was as well. And the reason why I was is because I was sharing. I created a blog for my daughter just to share what her story and then what we were doing because I wanted to just be able to, like you, share and help other people. Well, he would read my blog every week. And my sister was actually a nurse at this clinic. And she would tell me you could tell every time you would write a blog because he'd be slamming things around.
Oh
And then
my,
eventually he sent us a letter saying that he's no longer welcomes us in the clinic because he thinks that I don't trust his care. But even then, Jamie, I was never like how you said, you're not bashing, you're not,
oh,
I was never out to get anybody. I was never bashing. I just was sharing the truth.
yep,
And that truth triggered him
yes.
because deep down, I think he knows.
Yeah,
He knew the truth.
I wanted to see the inserts. I asked them to see the inserts. And it was a concerned mom. I need to know what's in this. May I please see the inserts? And they treated me like I was a freaking criminal, and so that's a sign right there,
Mm-hmm.
so like what is really going on? But yeah, and so TikTok, wisdom and motherhood, still we're starting over. And I'm on Instagram. I have, I think, a little over 220,000 followers.
She has a massive following. Even though she's got her thing taken off, she's just doing, she's spreading the word. And I just love that. Okay. So switching gears a little bit, you said when you were talking about your daughter, you did this and she's like day 5 was talking to you and saying these things, but you said you did more things. What were those other things that you did with her?
Yeah. Diet.
Mm-hmm.
Children need to be eating whole organic foods. They are children of this earth. They're from the earth. They need nutrients from the earth. And instead of these synthetic, ready to go, pull out of the freezer stuff. Okay. Please, nobody use tap water for their bottles ever. You can go on your ewg.org and type in your area code, and they will tell you all of the toxins and cancer causing toxins and everything that's in your water right there. So, it's really a great idea to get a shower and water filter, okay, for your children, because your kids are going to absorb all of that in their bath. That's why most of you guys will notice your kids' eczema will get worse after a bath. All right. So that's something that you can do. It's really important. But start your kids off on a healthy diet right from the gate when they're babies. Give them, I was giving Charlie fermented beets and, all this good stuff. Choline, eggs, they need the choline from the eggs. They need these nutrients, so just whole foods. Stay away from gluten. Some kids have dairy issues, and the thing is, and this is different for everybody, like some people, I follow a blood type diet. I love our blood type diet. It works for my child. I highly recommend every single mom knowing what your child's blood type is and try that diet out. Okay. There's going to be some things where, okay, they have this allergy, they have that allergy, they can't eat those foods in their blood type diet, but please try that. It has removed all of my, so much inflammation with me. My child used to have so dark circles under a child's eye can be B vitamin deficiency, liver and kidneys overburdened by toxins. That's why when you're having metal detox them, you'll see the dark circles go away. But it can also be food allergies. What we're saying is food allergies, but it might not just be food allergies. It's just that their body doesn't like that food, because as our ancestors, we come from all over the world. This is the whole thing about blood type diet. We come from all over the world. I'm from Scotland and, Europe and all these things. Well, guess what foods they eat over there? And they ate that because their bodies took to it. Their bodies loved it. So now you get us all from all over the world in one society. And we're eating whole, number one, synthetics, but we're bombarded with all this silly information about the food pyramid and all these things, and stop eating eggs because of cholesterol, and eggs is choline. Did you know that kids who eat an egg a day have significantly high IQ than others? because of the choline, because it's so important for the brain, but don't eat that, right? Like you know what I mean? When you really get down into things and you really, our ancestral wisdom has been lost. And that's why my Instagram, that's why I changed over to Wisdom and Motherhood, because we need to bring this stuff back and stop just listening blindly to people like I did. I used to blindly listen to the white coats as well. And you know, don't get me wrong, allopathic medicine, Western medicine, I will go if I break my bone or something happens, I'm going to the emergency room. But anything else other than that, I'm going to have this when my two fingers crossed in front of me saying, no, thank you, please.
Well, and also it's just not needed when you learn this stuff. And I just almost like how you're saying the wisdom that we always had, like bring it, it's like getting back to the basics.
That's right.
Simplifying things. You don't have to overcomplicate all this stuff. You know, maybe this seems complicated, but actually when you really listen to this episode, I hope that you hear this all sounds very common sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? So, I mean, I was that person. Jamie Lee was that person. We were sheeps. We were listening to what everyone else says, but our food matters. And what she's saying is, well, first of all, I was going to ask, how do you do the blood type diet? How do you test your child to figure out their blood type?
So easy. Okay, so we were going to do this at our first pediatricians, okay? And they tried, they wrapped her up into a blanket and held her down, and it was just so traumatizing and like horrific, where I was like, stop. No, I don't, you know what I mean? And so there's a test on Amazon. It's like $10. They prick the thumb of their finger. That's where it's most calloused. They don't even feel it. My daughter, I have a reel of it up on my Instagram. My daughter said, she started laughing. She was like, that tickles. Like, you know, it didn't even hurt her. And you find out right there. You don't have to send your blood in anywhere. You put it on, you know, this little piece of paper, and it'll show like images of this blood type and that blood type. And you just compare. And so you know right away.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So
what is that test called?
You just go look on Amazon and put at-home blood type kit.
Otherwise, you said you had a reel, so we can also go to your Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And so just to go back to what I was saying, my daughter, when she eats, you know, beef is harmful. If it's on her harmful list, it's not good. And she's A negative, meaning she's one of the blood types that can thrive on a vegan or vegetarian diet because she has low stomach acid. So it's harmful to have to break down a lot of proteins and things like that. And so you can see she gets dark circles when she eats beef. I'm like, what did she eat? What's going on? And I'm like, oh my God, she had a hamburger over grandma's house. And I know my kids so well, where I'm like, why does she have dark circles right now? What did she eat? Because it's taxing her body. So
right.
It's just empowerment, knowledge, know these things, get your kids these gene tests. MaxGen, that is the gene test I use. That's on the link in my bio on my profile. And you get to know everything, all the genes, gene mutations, pesticide sensitivities, you know, if they're like, you know, predisposed to like blood sugar issues, like just all these things. It's just, it's so helpful for you to know that about your child.
Yeah. Do you have any other resources? Like you have the ebook that you mentioned. Do you have anything about diet that's available? I know you have your Facebook group too, which is a great resource.
Yeah. So what you can do is, I'm just working on diet stuff actually, and a nice ebook, and things like that. I have the detox, heavy metal detoxing free ebook, and I have the free MTHFR and Motherhood ebook. I give everything away for free because I don't care. I want everybody get it. But there are, when you find out your kid's blood type, you know, there's Eat Right for Your Blood Type books, and it's on each one. You know, you don't have to get overwhelmed to make a big deal about it, guys. You really don't. Look at the list. Go online, type in your kid's blood type and say foods list, blood type A negative food list. You'll be able to screenshot everything and just what they're eating that's on the harmful list, just take out gradually, you know, add in, they can eat chicken and fish, but not beef. Okay, so let's cook some more chicken instead, you know, and everything in moderation. I'm not really a psycho or anything. I just would prefer not to feed. If she wants to if she's going to have a cookout and, you know, there's only hamburgers, we're going to have hamburger. but I would
Right.
prefer if she didn't on, every night of the week or whatever, if she doesn't have to.
Yeah, and especially when you're first doing the detox, so let me just ask this. I think I've heard you say this. That's probably why I know this, or maybe I'm assuming. But when you first start the zeolite, the package, the 3-part thing, you start this supplement, this detox supplement, and you're doing it 3 times a day, and that's for a certain period of time, and then you go into maintenance. Is that correct?
Yep. And yeah, so what we're doing is recommending, what I'm doing is recommending you initially clean the body because we're so full of toxins, whether you're 3 months old or you're 37. And so kids, it's recommended 3 months initial detox. Some children who have heavy toxic loads, a lot of children on the spectrum, okay, we're going to have to do a longer than 3-month initial detox, okay?
Right.
Adults is 6 months initial detox, and this is just like a regimen every single day, 3 times a day, get that load out. And then it's like once a day. My child goes to an outdoor school, and I do not let her leave without giving her PVX every day, because you look up into the sky and you see all those lines in the sky that everybody knows are clouds. And so, it's a lifestyle. You don't keep, especially if you have MTHFR, like you don't keep toxins in your body. You keep them, move them, and you cannot, there's no way to not be exposed in this day and age. There's just no way.
Yeah. So true. Okay, so you did the detox, the heavy metal detox, and then food. Is there anything else, or were those like the main
Yes,
players?
I do want to put some emphasis on water.
Okay.
Okay, so number one, obviously never drink tap water. And spring water is what we need to be drinking, not purified. Purified is it's just a little bit filtered, okay? Just a little bit. We don't want a little bit filtered water that's dead without any minerals in it. We want spring water. Spring water is from the ground, and it has earth's minerals in it. Our children are so entirely, it's so horrific and sad how mineral deficient that they are, because the minerals are not in our soil anymore because of those pesticides, the commercial farming, that their teeth are breaking and cracking, and we're having cavities in there crumbling. So when you're so incredibly mineral, and also heavy metals will displace those minerals, okay? But when you're so depleted in minerals, your body will pull from your bones, organs, and teeth, and it pulls the minerals from your teeth first. So that is the biggest sign. So that's why the fulvic is important. Get those minerals back in. For our kids, drinking spring water, and also putting a little pinch, which you cannot taste at all, of Celtic sea salt or Redmond sea salt, whichever you prefer, and make sure you're getting minerals. Don't buy purified water. If you're getting reverse osmosis water, I made this mistake. I didn't add the minerals in. It was like, I think I was doing that for a whole year. Oh my God, my health declined so bad. I had to find out, you know what I mean, on my own. A lot of these things, and I'm just like you. Whatever I find out, I jump on and I make a reel and I tell everybody.
Yeah. I love that. And then also it's kind of cool, like when we screw up or make a mistake, then we could be like, don't do this because we made a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm always like, learn from my mistake. I'm saving you guys time by being the guinea pig here.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So is there anything else? We're going to wrap this up soon. Is there anything else you did with your daughter?
Yes, I did. Yes. I started her on methylated vitamins. Now, and it's funny that we were just talking about don't do what I did. Methylated vitamins, I don't believe in synthetic vitamins anymore. I've kind of gone off that path because the ratios are wild. And everything in nature is in perfect ratio for the body. But we used to use a methylated vitamin that really got her back to where she should be. It really helped her mood, because she wasn't making enough neurotransmitters for a stable mood. This is also classic in addiction. This is why I came from addiction, okay? It's going to be obviously trauma, but toxicity and the imbalance in neurotransmitters from MTHFR and from the standard American diet. So giving those children the nutrients they need. And what I can recommend is beef beef organs. They're tasteless. You can sprinkle them. Okay, you could do that. Wheatgrass has everything the body needs as far as all 24 essential nutrients. So you get like a wheatgrass powder, put it in some honey. And then there's one other option I have for you, because I just did a reel on that. And my clinical herbalist and best friend said, consider moringa herb. After I already did the video, he said it's even more nutrient dense and far easier to digest. So if children are having any sort of digestive issues, consider moringa and half teaspoon in some honey. If they're going to give you a problem, put some sprinkles on it. And there you go.
Dude, that's so good. So what was the one that you used though?
Brainchild.
Brainchild?
Yeah, it was Spectrum. It was a Spectrum support pack. It came with 2 bottles. It was minerals and vitamins. And that worked. That stuff worked. I don't care who you are. I got so many of my followers using that. And now, here's the thing. Now my daughter's body is so balanced that MTHFR doesn't affect us. And when I give that to her, she gets thrown over the edge. Because if you have a child and you're giving them too many B vitamins, they get very agitated and like angry and everything. So if you're giving them a supplement and they're getting like that, it's because it's too many B vitamins. I can't even give it to her anymore. I've healed her body so much that we can't even take it.
So like we've been saying, okay, so you're going to do this for somebody on the spectrum. It's going to be longer than 3 months, but that's when you don't want to do the cheats of like getting a burger at the cookout. Like you said, you wouldn't do that during that 6-month period, but after you heal the body, you still want to follow it, but you don't have to be so like, I don't want to say psycho, but you don't have to be so like obsessive with it. You can be a little bit, if you're going to a cookout, have a burger, just know that she's probably going to have dark circles under her eyes and stuff like that. Same thing with this. Do this for a period of time. This doesn't have to be forever.
No. And you know what? You don't even have to be that crazy on the detox. You really don't. There are certain situations, if we have children who have leaky gut and they're having some big time issues, like, mama, you need to get your SHIT together and you need to start giving them different foods because this is harmful. But other children, it's like you can keep going about your day, really, if and you can keep detoxing them, you'll still see results. But make sure we're going towards a more healthy diet. Yeah, for sure. But there's no, like, you have to do this while you're detoxing. This is like what you have to do. Like, you really don't. I didn't do that with Charlie, while she was detoxing. I mean, she was still eating that damn rice cereal full of arsenic and heavy metals at that time, So just, I want everybody to know that.
Yeah, just do your best. And I'm like you. I feel like you and I are kind of like all or nothing type of people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember once I learned, first of all, the doctor said, oh no, gluten and dairy free diet. That's not going to help her at all. Blah, blah, blah. Believed that for a minute. Then did my research. I was like, oh my gosh, if this could help, I got rid of everything in my house. And I went, you don't have to do that. If that's your personality and you're like, go ahead, all power.
Please do it. But
it's like, I told my ex-husband, he was my husband at the time, I'm like, if you want gluten, you can go out of this house to find it. There's going to be nothing here. So anyways, you don't have to be, this is just who I am. This is just who I am.
Hey, my husband came home from work one day and the microwave was in the garage. I said,
oh yeah. I begged and pleaded for that. I'm like, get this in the basement. This is radiation. And then right above the microwave, I bought this radiation blocker, whatever it was. And everyone would come over to my house and be like this, back then, 10 years ago, it was like this huge thing with blinking lights on it. It looked like a spaceship. And they'd be like, who knows? Mindy's wild. She's got all the things in the house. So we're a little bit different. We're all or nothing type of people, but we're the ones, the test dummies for you guys to share all this.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I like to end every episode asking my guests, what are you obsessed with right now? And what are you just not interested in? Like, obviously in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. If it wasn't clear before, I am obsessed with sharing knowledge with moms and helping children heal because they don't deserve this. They're full of light, love, and they're innocent and they don't deserve what's happening to them. So that's what I'm obsessed with, okay, is finding ways to help them heal. And what I'm just not interested in is Western medicine.
I could have guessed that. Like I should start guessing prior to asking
Yeah.
because I was like, I know what she's going to say. And I freaking love that answer. That is the best way to end this episode. So Jamie Lee, I can't thank you enough. Let's just tell everybody I know we've said it in this episode, but again, let's just tell everybody where they can find you and stalk you.
Yes. So Instagram, Wisdom in Motherhood. If you want, there's coupons for the detox right in my bio. All my reels I put so much information, free ebooks and all that stuff. And I'm also on TikTok, same thing, Wisdom in Motherhood.
Perfect. And go ahead.
And wisdomandmotherhood.org as well as my website.
Okay. So when you guys go to, I'm guessing some of you are going to be like running to her site to order, or at least thinking about it. I want you to know, there's 3 things. So is that all come in is there a package when they go to your link?
So in order to get the best deal, what I always recommend is the detox pack because it's cleansing all the organs with the spray and the drops for the gut. So we're really taking care of the whole toxicity of the body. And then, so you purchase that detox pack first, and you can get it at $50 off on auto ship, which you can cancel at any time. Nobody's locked in and it's super easy. And if you need help with that, just let me know. But you should stay on. They should stay on it. Okay.
Yeah.
But, and then after it's right below, and I kind of give you an instructions. Then after that, you go purchase the Fulvic because you can get the Fulvic for $10 if you're already a customer. So you buy the detox pack. Already, now you're a customer. Go back in the link, get the Fulvic for $10 for the first bottle, and you're on your way. And then you join my Facebook group. I have it's like 23,000 moms in there, and that's linked right on, right in my bio on my website and everything too.
Yeah, and that group is so great because you can ask any question. But also, I'm like a dealer of hope. If you guys have been listening to every episode, and so are you, Jamie Lee. So when you go in that group, I think if you are a new mom that just found out your child could have autism or does have autism, get into her group because you're going to see so much hope in there. Yes, and you just left that pediatrician's office like Jamie Lee and I left with nothing. Like, oh, we'll just wait and see. Oh, there's nothing you can do. We don't want you to be left with that. We want to give you guys hope. So that Facebook group has so many success stories. Jamie Lee, I hope you'll come back on so we can do a whole episode on just sharing success stories that you've helped these moms. Would you be willing to do that?
I would. There's nothing more and it's get ready, everybody, grab some tissues.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I can't thank you. I know you make me this is what I'm saying, you guys. She is full of passion about this and she just wants to serve this community. So I'm so happy. Thank you so much that you came on and you shared your heart and all of this information. I have pages of notes here that I was taking. I'm like, okay, anything she mentioned, I have it all written down. So I'll put it in the show notes, the books that she mentioned, the links, all the things. I don't even think you could get the Vax movie anymore. I think they took that down off the internet, but if I can find it, I'll share that. I'll share it all. So thank you so much, Jamie Lee. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Bye, guys.
Seriously, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Obsessed or Not Interested podcast. I love connecting with you on social media. So if you guys want, please shoot me a DM at either our podcast Instagram, which is at Obsessed or Not Interested, or even my personal Instagram, which is at Mindy Wender. I check them both, so either is fine. Oh, and truly, if this has helped you even 1%, if you could do me a huge solid and leave me a rating and review, that would mean the world to me. When you guys do that, here's why I really love it. It's because it helps the podcast be able to reach more women who want and need this. So truly, that is like the best compliment you could ever give me, is just leaving ratings and reviews for this podcast. Anything that I talked about in today's episode, any links or resources, you will find that in the show notes. Thank you for listening to today. Can't wait to chat more in the DMs, and don't forget to tune in next Tuesday.